Okay guys, you know what time it is. It's time for a brand new movie, new year, Hallmark movie review. Now, it's still Lovey-worry and Hallmark is still doing their Jane Austen inspired movies. We started off with Paging Mr. Darcy, my least favorite. I gave that a 7 out of 10. We went into Love and Jane. I really liked that. I gave that a 9 out of 10. Then we went on over to An American in Austen. I super duper love that and I gave that a 10 out of 10. Now, last night at 8 p.m. Eastern, Sense and Sensibility premiered. And there was a lot of talk about Mahogany presenting this Bridgerton feel-like cast and putting Black aristocrats together with white aristocrats and to retell this story. Now, I gotta be honest, I read this book when I was in high school. I barely remember the characters because most people really talk about Pride and Prejudice when they talk about Jane Austen. Like, for those of us who just are interested on the surface, not like someone who's read every single book by her, right? So the whole, there was a lot of chatter between Hallmark's Instagram page and Facebook page and even on Twitter. Some people were really trying to say, like, they really didn't know what to expect. Some people were saying, don't mess with the Sense and Sensibility cast. Megan did say that the original one from the 90s, she really loved. And when I saw the names, I think like Hugh Grant was in it. Like, when I saw the big names in that one, I was like, be for real. This is Hallmark, people. It's not going to be like that. Dan Janot, I love him, but he's not going to be like Hugh Grant or like anything like that, right? So be real. This is Hallmark. This is Hallmark's adaptation of Sense and Sensibility. I don't think it's that realistic if my big city ass goes back to a small town and like gets back with my ex-boyfriend that screwed me over a million times, that's now a mechanic and has his own garage, but it's his season for love on Hallmark. Hallmark doesn't really do reality. As a matter of fact, when they step into fantasy mixed with romance, as we see with the series The Way Home, if you have not caught my review on that series, you need to find it on my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, and YouTube, and definitely watch that review and start watching that show, because I will not ever stop promoting that show, and we're on season 2. When we mix fantasy, this is what I liked about Love and Jane, bringing Jane Austen alive and bringing Jane into 2024 and to modern day romance. I liked it. Some people did not like it. Some people complained about it. You're always gonna have people that complain, okay? And if you're one of them people who are still saying that Hallmark went down the tube since CCB and all them other people left, look at the ratings. It's not true. You're like talking out your ass. It's just not true. Like, look at the ratings. Hallmark has actually been doing better. And diversity and inclusion is one of the reasons. It's one of the things that ex-CEO Bill Abbott was against. And it was one of the missions that Hallmark set out to accomplish. Now, do I think doing Jane Austen books or movies inspired by Jane Austen books, the entire Lovey-worry was smart? No. I think Hallmark could have chosen a different author each Saturday and just landed us with some great new movies and diversify the love stories, right? Like I said, I'm not a Jane Austen fan, so that's why when I started off doing these reviews, I said every movie I will score a 7 and above for the Jane Austen series, meaning at least tune in for yourself, and then you will get to see if you like it, don't like it, because I'm not a huge fan. But this month was super surprising. Except for Paging Mr. Darcy, I enjoyed all these movies in different ways. Now, if I haven't said it, Sense and Sensibility, I'm giving an 8 out of 10, and I'll go into all of that. But I definitely want to shout out the cast. So I already mentioned Dan Janot plays Edward, and Deborah Ayurinde plays Eleanor. So we're back. We see the Dashwood sisters. We've got Eleanor, we've got Marion, and we've got Margaret. And opening scene, we see that their father is dying, and he tells their stepbrother that the law does not allow, at this period in time, the law does not allow estates to be passed down, I guess, to women. So it's going to go to his son from his first marriage. And that son promised that he would therefore take care of his stepsisters and his stepmother, but he did not keep his promise because he was married to like this awful woman named Fanny, and he had no freaking spine. So this is where we meet the Dashwood sisters, for those of you that are not familiar with the story. So from there, we see them kind of fall from grace, where they lose their manner. They have to move in with like a distant cousins, but the cousins are kind, and the cottage is quaint, and the countryside is not, well, it's not London, but it's better than nothing, right? And we see them try to adjust in love and in familyship, and everything is just all over the place. So I'm gonna say this. I gave this an 8 out of 10 because I felt like the two leads did have chemistry, but we didn't see enough of these two characters. We just did not see enough of them. It kind of made me forget that Dan Junot is like the main love interest in this story. I know it's loosely following the actual book, but still, it was a lot to pack in 2 hours. And this is one of those movies where I felt like it needed a lot of fleshing out. Though I did think that I love the cast. I did think the cast did a superb job, given all the haters and critics that didn't want to see this storyline so diversified, right? So I love the cast. I thought the two main leads, I thought they had chemistry. I thought there was something in this movie for everyone. Some people on the Hallmark Facebook page commented about the costumes. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm more of a Gilded Age woman than I am this 1800s business, okay? Because even though I feel like in these dresses, you could really scarf down a chili cheese dog and still get you a husband, still get you a rich husband at that, because everything is kind of focused on the bosom, and the bosom is very modest. As you can see, I am not modest about my bosom, but I am a woman of a certain age. I'm at the use it or lose it decade of my life, and I'm going to use it until it falls off, okay? So, you know, costume-wise, I thought it was beautiful, but I like a little more fashion, a little more flair, baby. I like the Gilded Age era. Bring me to the 1900s, baby, with the corsets and not the corsets that are hiding the body, but the corsets that are showing the body. That is what I'm all about. Not, you know, but I do like the whole, Jamaicans have this whole thing called tuck in your belly. So you tuck in your belly. So whether it's your corset, whether you're getting into your Spanx, whatever it is, if you got to lose a rib and you're about to wear a gown, honey, tuck in that belly. That's what Jamaicans are going to let you know. So I could understand some of it. So the costumes, I wasn't like wow-weed, but I did think that it was beautiful for the time. I thought everybody looked elegant, and I really tried to follow the storyline. I actually followed it and didn't scroll like I did through Paging Mr. Darcy. This was not painful to watch, but I still felt like, because there's so much packed into the storyline, and Hallmark used some of their creative freedoms, but maybe not enough, I think it would have just been better to kind of do a little twist and turn with the story, kind of like they did with Love and Jane and then An American in Austin. I just think like mixing 2024 with the 1800s, that's the kind of flavor. Giving Jane like a fresh perspective and look is kind of like what I would have wanted. But I do think this is a solid 8, and this is worth tuning into. I also think there's so much more to say about this, and I haven't even showed y'all the cast, so go to part 2 of this review, because I definitely have to do a part 2. Shout out to Deborah and Dan. It's welcome to Hallmark, Deborah and Dan. We always love you over at Hallmark. Guys, go to part 2 because I actually want to get into the storyline, and I hope I don't mess up any of the names. But follow me for the journey of the Dashwood sisters in love. And I'm going to tell you, whether it's the 1800s or 2024, there are some common themes here when it comes to dating and love, honey, and courting.